The Closer has been causing massive waves on social media. We've seen actors and Netflix employees all calling for Dave Chappelle's cancellation because they didn't like the jokes he made in his comedy special. They're demanding that Netflix never work with him again, and we've even heard Netflix's CEO defend The Closer, saying that it doesn't incite hate, so they were standing by it because clearly there's people that like this humor. It was in Netflix's top 10 list at launch. It's got a 95% on Rotten Tomatoes, but now Ted, Netflix's CEO, is completely walking back on his statements, bending the knee to social media outrage. But before we get into the topic at hand, if you enjoy the content that I create, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Follow me on social media like Twitter or mine so that you can see when my content is posted. And if you do really enjoy the videos and the live streams that I create, please consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon for just $1 a month or supporting via memberships. All of the links are in the description, and of course, I do really appreciate all of the support. So I'm going to start off with this Wall Street Journal article. Netflix's co-CEO says he screwed up when defending Dave Chappelle's special. I am so disappointed to see them walk back on their statements, to walk back on the things they said, because I actually really agreed with what Ted said. He was talking about how they're going to stand by it because it doesn't incite hate or violence, people like the content, and it doesn't break our rules. But now, of course, they're bending the knee because they see how much outrage is going on social media. But it says Netflix's co-chief executive Ted Sarandos said he screwed up in his efforts to communicate with employees who were upset over The Closer, a recent comedy special by Dave Chappelle in which he made remarks that some viewed as offensive to the transgender community. Now, of course, I've talked about The Closer in a couple of videos now, but Dave Chappelle made fun of literally everyone. It didn't matter if you're white, if you're black, if you're transgender, if you're straight. He made fun of anyone that he could, because that's his type of comedy. That is his brand. It says in emails to Netflix staff after the special's debut earlier this month, he defended The Closer, citing its popularity on the platform and the company's commitment to creative freedom. This is something that I and a lot of other people stood by. We really like this statement because it's true. Companies and platforms should be standing by creative freedom and should be standing by the people making content for their platforms that's making them money. But of course, we see now that they've changed their mind. He also said the company believed content on screen doesn't directly translate to real-world harm, and I completely agree with this. I talk about this a lot on the channel, whether it's entertainment and movies and TV shows or video games. I do not think that content that people take in from these mediums translates to real-world harm. It says in The Closer, which was released earlier this month and is currently among the most watched programs on the service in the US, he said that gender is a fact, and he identified as a TERF, an acronym that stands for Trans Exclusionary Radical Feminist, and he also compared the transgender community to people who wear blackface. It says, what I should have led with in those emails was humanity, he said in an interview Tuesday evening. I should have recognized the fact that a group of our employees were really hurting. Of course, now he's talking about how employees are really hurting over jokes. That's the thing here, is that Dave Chappelle put out a comedy special. These are jokes. They're supposed to get everyone riled up, and he knows that he was going to take backlash for this. He knew, and Netflix probably knew, because Netflix has done several specials with him now. And every single time a special releases, there's backlash. There's a lot of people that are upset. This isn't a new situation, but of course, we have this co-CEO bending the knee to outrage now, going back on what he said. He also said his remarks on content not causing real-world harm was an oversimplification and lacking in humanity. To be clear, storytelling has an impact in the real world, and sometimes it can be quite negative. So it talks about how a transgender employee group is encouraging all employees to take Wednesday off as a form of protest against Netflix. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not sure how many people are going to protest this situation, how many people are going to walk out. I guess we'll see next week. But it says the CEO, who is also Netflix's chief content officer, said he isn't second-guessing the decision to carry The Closer, nor are there plans to remove it from the streaming giant's platform. And honestly, I don't really believe him at this point, because because initially he was defending Dave Chappelle and defending this special, and now he's walking back. So he's saying, yeah, we're not going to remove this special, but at the same time, we clearly see that they've gone back on their word before. This could mean they'll remove The Closer from Netflix. I'm gonna be honest. We could see this happen even though he's saying they're not going to. Clearly, it's made them money. Clearly, it's very popular. So I understand why they'd want to keep it up, but they could remove it, and even worse than that, it means they probably won't work with Dave Chappelle anymore after all of this outrage. Yes, their contract with him was done, but they could have worked with him again in the future because clearly his content does very well on the platform, but I think they're just afraid of outrage at this point, and they're afraid of working with him again. It says, we have articulated to our employees that there are going to be things you don't like, there are going to be things that you might feel are harmful, but we are trying to entertain a world with varying tastes and varying sensibilities and various beliefs, and I think this special was consistent with that, and I agree. Right now, this special is sitting at a 95% on Rotten Tomatoes. Clearly, a lot of people like it, and it's okay if people do not like Dave Chappelle's type of humor that's in The Closer. You are allowed to dislike it. You are allowed to say, I think his humor is pretty freaking terrible, but at the same time, that doesn't mean we should be calling for it to be removed. I also wanted to point out this article that recently came out because Channing Tatum says he hates how Dave Chappelle has hurt so many people with his comedy routines. I personally do not see how a comedy special could hurt someone. We're talking about jokes and words here. I guess people, in 2021 are extremely sensitive to words now. But it says that Hollywood actor Channing Tatum has revealed he hates the fact that Dave Chappelle has hurt so many people with his comedy, despite admitting that the comedian's words have resonated with him on a personal level in the past. Of course, Channing Tatum's trying to jump in on the action. He sees it trending on social media, and he wants some of those sweet, sweet likes. It says the 21 Jump Street actor's comments on Chappelle come after the release of The Closer, which has been heavily criticized. I understand that Dave Chappelle is a very dangerous person to talk about at the moment. I understand and hate that he has hurt so many people with the things that he said. He said this to his 17 million followers. He went on, any human can hurt someone, but any human can heal and heal others just the same. This little piece healed me back in the day. I can't forget that. This does not excuse anything hurtful, though, to be clear. So he's liked Dave Chappelle in the past. I truly think that he is just making these empty, hollow comments on social media just to get clicks, just to get that attention. Just like the situation with George Takei. He tweeted about the Chappelle controversy, and he didn't even know The Closer, the content that was in the special. He had absolutely no idea and made this random statement to try and virtue signal. I truly hope over the next few weeks we don't see Netflix go back on their word and remove The Closer from Netflix, because if they do, I think they're going to face a massive boycott and they are going to face even more backlash than they are now. I hope that they continue to stand by this special and they keep it up and they just let the situation die down. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.